Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unit 4. That's the design process we're working on. And today we're working on Lesson 3, User-Centered Design Microactivity. What does that mean? User-Centered Design Microactivity. I think user, we look at the people we're going to be designing something for. Center design microactivity, something that we're going to design to help somebody out. And we'll go into the overview first of all. We'll discuss that. Okay, first of all, this lesson guides students through an abbreviated version of the design process that you'll be seeing throughout this unit. You're going to first brainstorm a list of potential users of smart clothing. What is smart clothing? Smart clothing is something designed by you or somebody else that helps somebody with something that they may have a problem with. For instance, I'll use this real quickly. Heart monitor. Maybe you design a piece of clothing that has a heart monitor built into it. And that would be considered smart clothing. As a class, individual class, your group, which is you and I, will look at some ideas into broad categories of each group, and you will choose one category for a user. Groups repeat this process to brainstorm needs of concerns of your user, eventually categorizing these needs and choosing one to focus on. Finally, you're going to design a piece of smart clothing using the specific needs and concerns you brainstorm to guide this decision-making process. Our objectives today: generate multiple strategies for meeting user needs. Okay, a user could be any person, animal, place, something that an area even could be considered a user need. Okay, organize ideas and strategies into meaningful categories, and then analyze and select the most appropriate strategies to meet these needs. All right, so first of all, let's look at the overview. In small groups, which is very small because you'll be working by yourself unless you have somebody with you, you're going to use the design process to come up with ideas for smart clothing, from brainstorming to identifying users to finally proposing a design. This is the first of several opportunities in this unit to practicing designing a solution for others' needs or needs of others. Okay, so first of all, I want to make sure you have your activity guide. So do ask your instructor for the activity guide. It looks like this. This is your activity guide. And make sure you do have that from your instructor. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to actually walk through the activity guide because that's pretty much what this lesson encompasses. Okay, so the overview: designing a product requires you to think about the needs of your users, even if those needs are very different from your own. In this activity, you will be designing a product from the ground up for specific needs of a user. The product you will be designing is a smart piece of clothing or smart clothing. For this activity, consider smart clothing to be any piece of clothing that also integrates computing technology. It might have sensors that record data, change colors, or display information, or even connect to the internet. Push the boundaries of what's possible. So long as your design meets the needs of your user, it is appropriate for today's activity. Okay, so first of all, we want to define our problem. Once again, we're going through the problem-solving process. First of all, we define our problem. Brainstorm users. Okay, in the space below, brainstorm as many different kinds of people as you can who might benefit from your smart clothing. So go ahead and do that. I'll give you a couple minutes to brainstorm some ideas. Okay, welcome back. You should have came up with some good ideas for brainstorming people that might need, or not just people, but animals also, might need your smart piece of clothing. Okay, so here's some ideas for you. Kids, teachers, parents, students like yourself, grandparents, maybe police agencies, and firefighters. And also include animals in that because animals is kind of what I'm going to focus on today. All right, so categorize your users. Create scraps of paper. You can use just a regular piece of paper for each of your users. As a group in a classroom or as you by yourself, create categories of users by grouping together smaller or similar types of users. For instance, choose a specific category of user to design for and write it here. Okay, today I'm going to use pet owners. Okay, so I'm going to create something for a pet owner. Okay, that's my choice. Okay, you can choose something else. It can be anything from for pets. It could be for a relative. It could be for a smaller person, like a child. You come up with an idea for that. That's your own preference. Okay, so brainstorm your needs. So now what you're going to do is you're going to brainstorm some needs. In the space below, brainstorm the needs, interests, and concerns of your user. So I'll give you a couple minutes to go ahead and do that. Okay, so brainstorming your needs. Once again, I chose to be a pet owner. Okay, so mine's a pet owner. Brainstorming some needs might be how to get some food, how to get water, maybe how to play with toys, location. Hint, hint, location. Location of my animal. And that is kind of what I chose to do. I went along with the location of my animal. I want to find out where my animal is at all times. How am I going to do that? Okay, how am I going to do that? Let's think about that for a couple minutes. Okay, so we're back. And what we forgot to touch on was choosing a specific need. Write the specific need for your group selected. Well, I chose not losing my pet, and we knew that because I already said that. So I don't want to lose my pet anywhere. So um, I'm going to create something that'll keep my um, pet's location at all times to me, somewhere that I can get it and see it at all times. Okay, so brainstorming solutions. We're going to prepare now. We're brainstorming some solutions. And in the space below, brainstorm ways smart clothing could be used to help address the needs for your group. Okay, so go ahead and spend a couple minutes doing that. All right, so once again, I chose the smart collar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you some ideas for my smart collar. What can it do? Okay, a smart collar can alert the owner. It also displays digital locations, GPS monitoring, and it also might alert animal services. What do we have right now that a lot of animals have in them? They have chips that alert um, clinics, animal clinics, animal shelters of the owner and maybe the location of the pet where it is, where its home is. So that's already available to us. But this is a smart collar I created, and my smart collar is going to be worn at all times by that animal. So I know where my animal is at all times. That's what I chose to create. So with my group, discuss the pros and cons of the idea of in your brainstorming. In each case, keep in mind specific need of your user. Okay, so what are some pros and cons of my collar? Some pros might be it helps me find my pet. That's the whole idea of it. That is the ultimate goal of my smart collar. What are some cons? A con possibly is the fact that if your cat or dog does lose the collar, can it be hacked? Can it possibly be hacked by somebody else outside your family? And data could be stolen from that. So it's a far reach, but it is a con, and we have to use that. Okay, so now we move into the try part. In the space below, write a short description of your product and how it meets the needs of your user. So go ahead and spend a couple minutes doing that. Okay, so describing your product, my product would be the collar again, a collar that tracks pets at all times. That's what my product does. How does it meet our user? It lets the user, the parent, or the owner of the animal. Most of us are considered pet or parents to our animals too. So I kind of went off on an angle on that one, but it tracks the pets at all times. It lets our owner know where the pet is located at all times during the day. And that way they're comfortable in knowing that the pet is safe and the pet hasn't wandered off. It uses a GPS locator to display the location. So once again, we've reached out and we've gone into the GPS location of our animal to help us find where it might be. All right. The last part, we're going to draw a picture of our product. And so my product is a location collar. And this is what it would look like right here. There it is. There's my pet collar. Okay. Very well done. It's got a little GPS monitor inside of it. It's got a chip for location. It's all right there. We call it a smart collar. So reflecting on it, why did I choose it? I think it's a great device. It's a piece of smart clothing for an animal. And I think it has a great use. It has a great use for the pet, always being around or being able to be located. It has a great use for the owner, always having the satisfaction of knowing that its pet's safe. So that is what my piece of smart clothing is. I hope your design turned out to be just as well. And we'll look at some more ideas in our next lesson. Take care, and we'll see you later.